Good morning, sir.
Yes, Aksaya, SB. Yes, good morning, everyone. Study of social system and social organization. System studies and organizational studies. Previous class we had been learned that social system. Every system having input, process and output. Today we have to start with pre-requisite of social system. First prerequisite, biological, including adequate number of people. Then family size, which means number of family members. Then definite system of procreation. Then functional prerequisite, obedience to social norms, processing. Mechanism of social control, whether formal control or informal control. Then interest towards positive action. Then cultural prerequisite, a language, symbols, material object. Then system of communication, how to transfer the message. Then communication prerequisite, including language, symbols, etc. So these all the prerequisites. Mechanism of social system. The mechanism including socialization is a first mechanism. Every social system is a process to achieve the goal. The socialization is fundamental. Then mechanism of social control. There are two types of control, formal control and informal control. Next, hospital as a social system. Is hospital is a social system? Yes, we are human beings. Socially interact with each other. Doctors, nurses, allied health professionals try to fulfill the needs of people in the society. The healthcare needs fulfilled by hospital system. Hospital is a social system, has all characteristics of social system such as social interaction, purpose, unity, functional, relationship, adjustment and interdependent, having elements of social systems including belief, goals, norms, status, rank, power relations and facility. It has input, process and output mechanism. As we have discussed, good doctors and nurses and make good process, healthcare services can provide and we can good outcome in the hospitals. So hospital system study is very important for in the hospital setting to improve the hospitals as a system, to improve quality improvement. Look at this input process in hospital, output in. What are the input in hospital? Look at this. Land, money, building, material, technology, patients, family. These all these. Then professionals concerned, personals. It means the doctors, administrators, doctors, nurses, allied health professionals. Process, care, cure, prevention, promotion, rehabilitation. So this is a process happening within the hospital. Then by means of interaction, doctors and nurses, allied health professionals mutually interact with each other and systematically interact and try to provide better healthcare services, which make is save the life and maintain healthier life in the society. Then social organization. So this is organizational studies. So this knowledge is very important for in this nursing administration. That time we will be detailed about what is mean by organization, organizational theories will be there. Here sociological aspect of social organizations. Social refers to human being living together as a group in a situation requiring that they have dealing with one another. Organization refers to a way people relate themselves to one another. And any interrelationship, related system of rules and status, role and status. Definition. It is a state of being, a condition in which the various institutions in a society are functioning in accordance with their recognized or implied parts. Keywords: state of being, various institutions in society functioning. For example, familial system, economic system, political system, and religious system systematically organized and having different norms and interactions formally. It's a harmony between individual attitude and social values. Here we need to think about macro organization and micro organization. The social organization concern macro concern, macro concern whole society. For example, Indian society having a families system, familial organizations, political organization, and religious organization, educational organization together form a social organization. Clear about it? Then micro sociology concern, every institution become an organization. It has norms, values, mainly role and status for the members. They organize themselves and work to develop the society. Look at this. Elements of social organization: society, culture, personality. Then characteristics: anonymity among the members of society, control of society on the activity of individual. Then principles of organization. So these principles we can apply this principle both macro sociology as well as micro sociology. Here hierarchy. Hierarchy means this top-down relationship. Span of control, controlled by people. For example, span means every organization controlled by head. Then subsystems. For example, in hospital as a social organization is medical director, nursing superintendent, medical superintendent, then head nurse. Head nurse may be controlled the subordinate nurses, 5 or 10 subordinate nurses. So that system is called span of control. Then unity of command. For example, in an organization, directed by top authorities. Then next is that integration versus disintegration. Integration means coordinate all the systems. Then disintegration means the system may be this decision making in all levels. Then centralization, decentralization. Centralization concern top authority only make all the decision. Decentralization, this Terminal, which means lower authorities, for example, over all society concerned. Each villages can take their own decision, which is decentralized. For example, in hospital as a social system, social organization, each department in the hospital, each ward in the hospital take their own decision and their members. That is decentralization. Centralization means top authority only make decision. For example, medical superintendent or medical director only make decision direct to the subordinates. So this is the difference between centralization and decentralization. Then delegation. Delegation means this grant power to subordinate. Then types: primary, family, religion, community, caste and race, groups. These are the primary. Mainly family is a classic example. Then secondary, economics. For example, family only create all other the social organizations. So every organization become a micro, micro organizations. Each organization together form macro, is a social organization. Educational organizations, political organizations, etc. Then types of political organization. According to our syllabus, here we need to focus on political organization. First, democratic organization, then authoritarian. First, detail about democratic, authoritarian models of participation. First, democratic terminology. Term comes from the Greek rule of the people. Look at this picture. People govern the society. Vote is a part of democracy. Every individual participate to government. Then definition: form of government where a constitution guarantee basic personal and political rights, fair and free elections, and independent court of law. Keywords: constitution guarantee, personal political rights, and free and fair election. Look at this. This is a democracy. People govern the society. Elements: guarantee of basic human right, then separation of power. Students, this is a very important area need to know about every nurse. There are three important power: executive power, legislative power, judicial power. For example, India is a democratic country. The people democratic participation, every individual. Who is executive in India? Executive means who implement the law. For example, President of India is the executive in India. But in state government is that governor of states. The legislators means lawmakers who make law to rule the society. For example, MPs and MLAs. MPs in central government, MLAs in state government. This make law. Then judicial power. Judicial power means the interpreting the law. The government make any law, but judicial can interpret the law. The reason is that this is a classic system. We can ask every individual right to ask the government decisions, right to challenge any law which was made by the government. Clear about it? So legislators make law, executive implement the law. Then judicial power to interpret, can ask any questions and interpret any of these difficulties or any challenges in that law and can be changed. So this is a classic system in democratic government. Next, freedom of opinion. We can speak, we can give any opinion to the government. The religious liberty, which is very important. Individual can right to follow any religion, which may be called as secularism. Then equal right to vote, good governance. Then history of democracy. Ancient origin, Plato contrasted democracy. Middle Ages, the first elected parliament was de Montfort's parliament in England in 1265. Just imagine, this is the first parliament was in England. That's why I believe that the British government have controlled maximum of countries in these Middle Ages due to democratic value. Then 12th and 21st century, mainly 12th century transition is to liberal democracy. Have come into successive resulting from wars, World War I, World War II, and revolutions. Then types: participatory democracy, parliamentary democracy, liberal democracy, then constitutional democracy, then direct democracy, then inclusive democracy. So India is which type of democracy? Having all type of democracies are included in India, mainly parliamentary, then constitutional, inclusive, which means every people included in, then representative. So every components, every types of parliamentary system is a democratic principles included. Then theory, Aristotle, principles of democracy is freedom. Then consumptions theory, aggregative democracy, which means aggregate of every people. Republic is other theory referred to representative democracy with an elected head state. Then constitutional monarch. Constitutional is the only one to govern, to control the people. So monarch means is one. Then criticism on democracy. Popular rulers is one of the Wilfredo Pareto argued that democracy was illusory. Illusory means just only imagination only. Then mob rule. Mob means ruler only control, violent to control the people. Plato full of variety and disorder, despending and short of equality. So this is criticism by different thinkers. Then political instability is other criticism. Frequent change in the policies and difficult to implement various welfare programs due to instabilities. Next, authoritarianism. Authoritarianism is just opposite to democracy. It is a form of social organization characterized by submission to authority. It is usually opposed to individualism and democracy. Look at this, only one person or group of people govern the society. Define authoritarianism. Governed by a little group of leaders in contrast to the totalitarianism regime. Authoritarian regime have no distinct state ideology and grant some amount of freedom, example economic and cultural, as long as their rule is not jeopardized. The most important role of authoritarianism regime is the maintenance of power and the personal enrichment on cost of the country and its population. Keyword underline, personal enrichment. They don't think about people enrichment. Then characteristics of authoritarianism. First character, highly centralized power, which means this central government or a particular person or group of people only direct to people. They don't ask to feedback. Next, emphasize the rule of man over the rule of law. So there is no law. A person, a man can rule the society. Then independent performance to demands of the people, which means inadequate performance, which means they don't think about people needs. Marked by indefinite political tenure of the ruler or ruling party, which means there is no political party. Then leadership style, this is one of the important question maybe asked in the examinations. First, authoritarian or autocratic. Second, participatory or democratic. 3, delicate or pre-requisite. First, authoritarian. Now look at this, pictures are available, not symbolized here. Democracy means everyone involved to government. Delegate means power, delegate to everyone. Every individual can make their decisions in the government. Then hospital as a social organization. Students, we have discussed about these organizations, micro organizations and macro organizations. For example, government is a For example, government is a macro organization, which means concerning, which including familial organizations, educational organization, economic organization, political organization, etc., etc. Here we are nursing students need to think about, is hospital is a organization, social organization? Yes, we are being in the hospitals. Social interactions, every social organizational principles embedded in the hospitals. Look at this. Healthcare service provide to society, prevent disease in the society, promotion of health in community, has been follow all organizational principles. Systematic, interdependent human interactions aim to build healthier society. Mainly concerning all the other organizational principles you should be think about. Hierarchy, unity of command, centralization and decentralization, integration and disintegration. These are all the principles having in these hospital organizations. So which we will be detailed about in the hospital administration. That time we will be detailed about, learn about hospital is the organization. In nursing administration. Then bureaucracy. What do you think about bureaucracy? Meaning. Term bureaucracy means administered by bureaus. Bureau is the administrative unit. Now, where the bureau is a favorable one, everybody having in house having the bureaus. Bureau having the unit, Here, bureaucracy means governing, unit of power, power to govern the society systematically. Definition. Max Weber. Bureau is a system of administration characterized by expertness, impartiality, and absence of humanity. The reason is that the bureaucrat only implement the law, which was made by legislators. Then features. Differentiation in function, technical specialization, hierarchical organization and discipline, objectivity of methods, adherence to rules, then maintenance of files and records, appointment, not election of staff, fixed salary scales, separation of official from the ownership, political neutrality. So, advantages in bureaucracy. It lays stress on technical knowledge, dominant by the principle of appointment, subject to strict discipline. The bureaucrats are selected according to their qualifications and specialization of functions. Then well laid out rules, objective oriented, impartiality and objectivity. Then disadvantages. Departmentalization, civil servants are it's called bureaucrat. These civil servants called as bureaucrat. For example, every district collectors name as bureaucrat. The reason is that they only implement law which was enacted by legislators, which means enacted by people. Then formalism, adherence to formalism, which is one of the major disadvantages. They don't think about the humanity. Only think about law which was made by legislators. So that law may be not fit in various places, but the bureaucrat difficult to that change the law, which is major disadvantage. Nowadays changing this humanitic aspect of thinking are there. Then red tape, inflexible authority, departmental decision and precedents. Red tape means inflexibility or conservativeness, strict on the rule of which was made by. Then inflexible and attitude is etc. Already we have discussed. Then division, responsibility. No official can take decision without consult several of officers at different level. Then bifurcation of alliance means splitting of in two different parts. Then creation of new social classes, develops an authoritative attitude. Students, the fact is that this every rule or functions divided into various bureaucrats. So if one person difficult to take decisions, for example in secretariat, secretary, principal secretary, additional secretary, and etc. So everybody bureaucrat, they only try to implement rules. So a single person difficult to make decision. They consult with other officials, bureaucrats, officials. So which make lot of difficulties, maybe causing this difficult to implement the various law, and mainly concerning this delay the implementation of various welfare programs. Then voluntary associations. The study of voluntary association is very important one for us. So students, so in the government we have is a authority. Here voluntary association or organization means it is an individual form a this welfare institutions. Meaning, the term voluntarism is derived from Latin word voluntas, which means will or freedom, freedom of association. Definition: voluntary organization to be of durable use, to be the community has to nurse a strong desire and impulse of community development among its members, to be economically viable, to possess dedicated and hard-working leadership and command resources of expertise in the functions undertaken. Key word is that this community development. Then define voluntary associations. Define as it is an organization in which group of individuals who are either into an aggregate as volunteers to form a body or organization to common interest and accomplish a purpose. Then Indian Constitution, Article 19(1)(c). On the Indian citizen, the right to form association. So this is a constitutional provisions. Every Indian are right to form associations. Then legislations, social. So legislation we will be learn next section. Before that, I would like to this emphasize that the voluntary organization is may be called as NGOs, non-governmental organization. Okay, NGOs. The detail about this voluntary associations and organization we will be learn after the break. Now discussing time, few questions. Rahina,
Yes, sir.
can you list what are the types of democracy?
Sir.
Yes,
Sir.
yes, types of democracy or democratic organizations. If difficulty can, yes,
Sir, paretta.
yes, you can speak out.
Representative democracy.
Yes,
Parliamentary democracy.
yes,
Liberal democracy.
yes,
Constitutional democracy. Direct democracy.
yes,
Inclusive democracy.
yes. Thank you for answer. Excellent answer. I glad to
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
your answer. Yes. Okay. Break now. After the break, we will be meet at 9 o'clock.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Reshma. Yes. Welcome back. Legislations related to voluntary organizations. First legislation, Societies Registration Act 1880, Indian Trust Act 1882, Cooperative Societies Act 1904, Joint Stockholders Act 1959. So these are the legislations explain the nature and scope of its activities. Students, this everyone right to form associations, but that associations or that voluntary organizations should be registered under this act. For example, our college, Ruckmoni College of Nursing, is a NGO, a non-governmental organization. It was registered under Indian Trust Act 1882. It's a trust, educational trust, provide educational services. It's an example, okay? So every NGOs, non-governmental organization in India should be registered under this legislation, any one of the legislation. Next, UN terminology is an international terminology, non-governmental organization. History date back at least 1839. By 1914, there were 1083 NGOs. Establishment of United Nations Organization in 1945. The Chapter 10, Article 71 of United Nations Charter. Chapter 27 recognizes the vital role of NGOs in sustainable development. Then welfare state influence the non-governmental actions. In 20th century, globalization raised the importance of NGOs. The Fifth World Social Forum in Porto Alegre, Brazil in January 2005 was attended more than 1000 NGOs. So these are the history of NGOs. The fact is that the international organization as well as the international organization, mainly United Nations, recognize NGOs, non-governmental organization, various UN program implemented through NGOs, as well as this Indian government. For example, Government of India, this constitutional provisions, every individual right to form associations. It's a constitutional provision. So this mainly concerning this various government, Indian government program, launch mainly healthcare program, launch through non-governmental organization, mainly welfare programs. Students, I was conducting research in India for United Nations, these programs. That research I was found that the every NGOs in India working for mainly three purposes. Every NGOs in India are working for three purposes. One is that health first, second education, third welfare. So which is a fact that the non-governmental organization try to welfare of people in Indian society. Then characteristics. First, it has a definite aim, objective and program. For example, hospitals. Hospitals aim to healthcare services. Second, it has administrative structure and duly constituted management. Executive committee has an organization initiated and governed by its own members. Democratic principles. It raises fund for its activities. Factors motivating the voluntary action. First, government, as we have discussed, legislations, constitutional provisions. Legislations, constitutional provisions, support to these NGOs. It is a fundamental right to form associations. So first factor influence is that government. Second, business. Then philanthropy. Then public interest. Then religion. Then personal interest. Next is that knowledge and prestige, create value, idealistic, educative, psychological, social, community, class, and ethnicity, sex, for example, women associations, gender concern. Then age, for example, elderly associations, voluntary associations, or organizations. Types of NGOs. Mainly orientation concern, charitable orientation, which means they collect fund and provide welfare. Service orientation, example healthcare services. Then participatory orientation. Then empowering orientation. Participatory means, for example, nursing associations. Empowering orientation, for example, empowerment of women. Then level of cooperation concern, community-based organization, city-wide organization, national NGOs, international NGOs. Then functions of voluntary organizations. First function, improve sociability, develop democratic system, which is very important, the people participation. Then they enable individual to learn, then help groups and individuals, mainly help to vulnerable section. Next, to meet all the needs of citizens, then help the state government, state means government, for example, implement various program in healthcare concern, implement immunization program. Next, new attention on sustainable development. Then building together people, which means cooperation, make coordination among the people. Then educating the members of public, Then to meet the healthcare requirements, then in non-partisan and non-political functions. Then examples for voluntary associations, Indian Red Cross, these are the international associations, Indian Council for Child Welfare, Tuberculosis Association of India, it is a national association. Then Bharat Sivak Samaj, Central Social Welfare Board, Kasthurba Memorial Fund, All India Women Conference, All India Blind Relief Society, international bilateral agencies including Rockmoni Foundation, Ford Foundation, then CARE, Cooperation for American Relief Everywhere. Then voluntary health organization. Students, we are nursing professionals need knowledge regarding voluntary health association. Reason is that maximum of hospitals are voluntary in India. Maximum of healthcare services provided by this non-governmental organization in India. Mainly corporate hospitals, individual built hospitals, then trust hospital belong to trust, etc., etc. Definition: the term voluntary health agency is presented, which refers to any non-profit, non-governmental agency, underline non-profit, governed by lay or professional individuals, organized on a national, state, or local level, whose main purpose is that health related and supported by voluntary public contribution. Then, functions of voluntary health organizations. First, improve the health status of society, then develop healthcare infrastructure, then try concern individual health, helps community to promote health and prevent diseases, to meet healthcare needs of citizens, helps the government to formulate and implement healthcare programs, new attention on sustainable peace and development, coordination or coordinate the healthcare activities, provide health education to public, then to identify and meet the healthcare requirements, non-partisan and non-political healthcare organizations. Then voluntary organization versus health. In our society, mainly India concerned, voluntary health organization doing a vital role, as well as implement government programs, mainly immunization program, as well as family welfare program, etc. Mainly promotion of health, provide welfare, HIV/AIDS control, promote national status. Promote nutritional status, okay. Then role of NERDs on voluntary health organization. Participate to formulate program, planning welfare program, implementing program, validating health promotional activities. So nurses doing wonderful role in the voluntary health organization in India, mainly working in private hospitals, corporate hospitals in New Delhi as well as in various cities in our country. Next section, role and status. Next section, role and status. In voluntary as well as government organizations, Every social system, individuals having different role as well as status. Here detail about this concept. The status and role interrelated component. If a person having good role, top role, experiencing high status, detail going on. Status refers to what a person is. Role refers to behavior expected of people in a status. Detail about role, position, function, responsibility, job, defined role. A social role is a set of connected behavior, rights and obligation as conceptualized by actors in a social situation. It is an expected or free or continuously changing behavior and may have a given individual social status or position. Social role positions, specialized positions guided by social norms. Roles are occupied by individuals who are called actors. Consider the role legitimate. Social pressures are likely to lead to role change. The anticipation of rewards. Next, determinants and characteristics of role. Societal influence, genetic predisposition, cultural influence, situational influence, etc. Role theories. Functional role theory explain about the functions determine the role or job of a person. Symbolic integrationistic theory, structural role theory, organizational role theory, cognitive role theory. It is a psychological theory. Social action theory, social norms theory. So these are the some role theories. This question may be asked in short, small questions. Role conflict is a special form of social conflict that it takes place when one is forced to take one on two indifferent and incompetent roles at a same times. Underline, one is forced to take on two different. Status is a state, condition or situation. A definition. It is also used as synonym for honor, prestige, when social status denotes the relative position of a person on a publicly recognized scale or hierarchy of social worth. Characteristics of status. First character, result of need, interest of society, some degree of authority over others. For example, a person more power, more status. Status is relate with social system. Status may be indicated social stratification, which means division of society. High status people, high class, like this. Then status has some degree of prestige. Then status have right to remunerate. Then status cannot be isolated from role. So status and role interrelated component. If role change, status will be changed. Types: ascribed status. This question is most important in the examinations. Ascribed status, for example, parent to child. Achieved status, by means of achievement. Example, educational achievement, economic achievement. Social status, then economic status. Legal status, status quo, status symbol, family status, religious status. Then social institutions, which we had been learned in this previous units. Just brief about it. Here, this we need to think about that the organizational studies, system studies, institutional studies. So different concept, different mode of studies are here. Social interaction, companionship, institution as well as established, structured pattern of behavior of relationship that is accepted as fundamental part of culture. Then meaning: a social institution is a complex, integrated set of social norms organized around them. The preservation of basic social values. Definition: group of person students, the definition we will be learn next class. So Krishna, can you connect with me?
Yes, sir.
Can you list what are the functions of voluntary health organization?
Sir,
Yes.
improve health status of society,
Yes.
develop health care infrastructure,
Yes.
concern individual health, help community to promote health and prevent disease.
Yes. Excellent answer.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Krishna.
Okay, students. Any more questions? Having any questions? Akshaya?
No, sir.
Okay. Meha? Meha Mohanan? Okay, today we had wonderful discussion, but in between some network issues are there. But today highlights is that this mainly this government, social organization. The organization is nothing but the systematically arrange the activities. So the social concern the micro as well as macro. Micro concern the government, this educational level, economic level like this. Macro means only government, all the government concerning the every organizations. Next highlights is that the voluntary health organization. So every individual had right to form the association and healthcare organizations and provide various healthcare services, mainly support to government, implement various government program through non-voluntary health organizations or NGOs. So thank you everyone. Have a wonderful day. So next class I think 26th will be.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I would like to wish you all happy Christmas. Thank you everyone.
Happy Christmas.
Yes,
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Happy
yes,
Christmas, sir.
yes, Krishna. Abhiram, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Kasya.